name is Taylor King, and today I'll be going over my band experience. Usually when someone is in band, they're called band nerds for many different reasons. Anyone that hasn't participated doesn't really know about this extracurricular though. I started my band experience when I was in 6th grade, and during that time we were just taught on how to play the instrument and how to get comfortable with playing the instrument. Band's main focus is to teach creative minds. Everyone was made to join band in 6th grade. Many people think it's just about playing an instrument, but there's way more that goes into it, and self-discipline is a very big factor. Self-discipline can be a very hard thing to teach yourself. It's easy to be lazy and push things off, especially when it comes to deadlines. When I'm talking about self-discipline, about the self-discipline topic, it starts to come in when marching season is near. There are two different types of bands. There's military and then there's corps. My high school was a military band, and we based a lot of our stuff off what the U.S. military band does. For corps, it's very much more entertainment based. There's many more different colors. There's backdrops. There's the drill team. Instead of just using flags or batons, they actually use rifles and knives and swords and stuff like that. In military band, you have to be completely still and roll your feet. If you don't, you're bouncing with an instrument in your mouth, and that's not comfortable. And you have to hit the marks on the field in the middle of your foot, so where the arch is. Now that you know a little bit more about the different types of bands, let's get into the logistics. We had practice every Monday night from 6 to 9 o'clock. We would be marching if it was rain or shine, minus lightning. We would be learning drills. We would be learning our music more, mainly drills in the beginning of the year. When we would do practicing, we would learn our specific stances on where we would be standing on the field and where a spot would be, and we would be expected to know that by the next day, which is understandable. We would also have practice every morning during our school period, and that's whenever we would learn our music and drills a little bit more. It wasn't nice because you would be going to your next period very sweaty. Learning music, when it comes to learning music, you have to have it memorized. You can't have a paper or anything like that on the field with you, so you have to make sure you have it completely memorized, or most of it. We would have to do these things called pass-offs. So pass-offs are whenever you would go, after a period of time, you would go to your director and pass off for them. So by passing off, you would play the song that we're learning for the field, and you would have to play it with no music in front of you and just by memory, and you have to play majority of it by memory. If not, you wouldn't be able to march. When we were learning drills, we would learn our spot, like I said, and then every night after we would pretty much be done, we would get in a big block, and they would call out certain moves that we do, very fast though, very fast paced, and if you mess up, you have to get out, and the last person wins. But it's a very fast paced thing, and you would pretty much know all your movements by the end of that. Even though practice is challenging, we haven't even gotten to the competitions yet. Competition days are very stressful days, and you would have to keep up with your instrument, your uniform, and all the pieces that it has, and make sure you have your hat and your plume, which is a little feather thing that goes on top. And then we would practice pretty much before we left, and then whenever we got there, you had to make sure you had white tall socks on for our band specifically, and our band shoes. It's a lot of things to keep up with whenever you're going to competition. Our uniforms have a lot of pieces. You have a jacket, pants, you would have a plate that would go in the middle, and straps that you would have to have on as well, and straps on the sides as well. For an instrument, you would have it usually in your case and just bring it with you. The smaller instruments would bring it on the bus, and the other bigger ones would put it on a trailer that we have. It's very stressful, especially if you forget something. If you forget something, you really can't march, and then we have a whole in our band, and then we wouldn't have anybody to fill that spot. So we would have a hole which they might mark off points for. For competitions, we would go to our place of competition and go compete. Before you compete, they take you to your practice area where you would practice with the whole band, mainly music, and then when it comes to marching, you pretty much already know everything because it's muscle memory, and you would get on the field and go. Some people might mess up due to nerves and stuff like that, but usually it's okay. After you are done marching, you can change and then go back in the stands, and then they would call out everything. There's many different areas when it comes to competition. Whenever it comes to state years, we would do it every 2 years. So we would go 1 year, we were a 3A school, and then the next year it would be 4 and 5A schools. So it would be every other year that we could go to. For every other year, my freshman year, we did not make it to state, and then my junior year, we ended up making it to state, and we got to go. We went to San Antonio, and we got to march in the Alamo Dome, which was very cool. And we got to meet so many other different bands around Texas, which was very cool. We got to meet military and corps. Mainly now, majority of schools are corps bands instead of military, and now military cannot participate in competitions that would be done state every year. So for our state experience, we got to go to San Antonio, like I said, and we marched on the field, we got off, and then that night we made it to finals. So we would perform again. Whenever we got done with that, everybody that made it to the finals would go onto the field, and they would call everybody from the last place to first place. We ended up getting 4th place that year, and out of, I think it was 10 schools that got into the finals. We were number 1 military, even though we were 4th. The other 3 bands were all corps. Alrighty, so band is much more than just playing an instrument. It's much more of a family experience once you get to know everybody, and every year that goes by you get more and more close with everybody. So next time you think band nerd, I hope you remember this speech. Thank you.